How's it going, Internet? I am Rip Carter. This is another episode of TikToks, and today I am with DonCon and Cataclysm, two people that I have gotten in touch with kind of recently when I started doing Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite tournaments, and the people who run the best Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite tournament in the world. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man.
No problem. So let's start off. I've given you a bit of description, but I might have not hit all the nook and crannies right. So just give us a quick, brief introduction as to who you guys are and what you do.
You can go first, Mike.
Sure. So this is Cataclysm, aka Ralston Arcade. Along with DonCon, we run the Gauntlet, a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite tournament every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/ICUHater. We've been running the tournament since January 2018, and we like to say it's the best Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite tournament on planet Earth. We just had Gauntlet number 134 last week, and we got 135 coming up very soon.
That's awesome.
Every Thursday, PSM be damned. They can't hold us back.
Yeah, I know it's been intermittent for you guys lately.
Yeah, it's been bad for like the last week or so.
I was actually going to ask how long the Gauntlet had been going on for, but you took the liberty of already, hitting me with the answer before I could even ask it. But 134 tournaments, and I know that, there's been some breaks and stuff, right, for holidays and things like that. But that's still a long time. That's a lot of tournaments. So I guess my next question would be now, what got you guys into running the Gauntlet in the first place?
So basically, when Marvel Infinite dropped, Mike used to run a local for Marvel 3 out of his house called Ralston Arcade. That's the title, Ralston Arcade. And we missed that. Right? So when did that shut down, Mike?
I ran it from 2012 to 2015, 2016, somewhere around there.
Okay, yeah, and then the Marvel 3 fatigue set in for a majority of the player base. Few grinded it out. But then Marvel Infinite dropped, and I loved the game, and just looking to play it. Obviously, our local FGC kind of aged out. We never had a younger generation coming up behind us. So we're like, okay, let's hold an online tournament for the local guys, and we'll play every Thursday night because that's what works schedule-wise. So it's just an online local for just us in Atlantic Canada. And then that number started dwindling there. I mean, they weren't doing shit to begin with. We'd be lucky to get 8 to 10 people.
Amen.
And then people fell off real quick. So out of desperation one day, I just threw the sign up link on Reddit in the MVCI Discord, or in the MVCI Reddit rather. And then we started getting XC, Mango Vitango, Bane Hollow, and who else? I'm forgetting his name. Macho. He's a very active player at the time. So we guys started to have these gods flooded in. Little beknownst to us, right? We're like, okay. We're just going to fight these randos. No, they absolutely murdered us, and it just kind of took off from there and spiraled.
No, that's great to hear that, you were able to get in touch with somebody somewhere, right? Because, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite unfortunately doesn't have the best track record in the sense of its launch and its, lifespan, everything like that. But that didn't really stop you guys, right? You reached out to Reddit or these other, maybe
what game's still available on Twitch when you're streaming? What game's still available on Twitch?
I saw you guys talking about this in the Discord the other day. Is it actually just completely gone? Marvel?
They removed Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Yeah, that's gone.
That's so weird.
You can only label vanilla because we're actually the best and we won.
Dude, that's so weird to me because they had wasn't the tournament that Twitch Presents did with Maximilian? Wasn't that Ultimate Marvel?
Yeah. Yes. Not good enough. Not as good as the Gauntlet, dude. Not as good as the Gauntlet. That's been consistent every single Thursday night.
Yeah, 134, baby. How many Twitch Presents? One. Hashtag Marvel lives. Marvel's been alive. That's fantastic. So, I recently started running tournaments. I don't know if you guys at home or anything know that, but you guys gave me quite a bit of help. I know I reached out to Cataclysm. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Where do I even start, right? And it took a lot of pointers, too, from... I specifically remember watching the Gauntlet and just seeing the production value you guys had and just kind of the energy and just how you guys did things. And it was really inspiring. I thought it was really cool, and you guys inspired me to make my own tournaments. And I now know, right, having done it just a few times, how much of a pain in the ass can be just for, the little old tournaments that I run on my end. So I was going to ask, can you give us a rundown of all the behind-the-scenes work that you guys do every week to put on the performance you guys do?
Well, I mean, I think like our mindset is like, what are you doing when you're streaming on Twitch? Like you're asking people for their time. You want people to watch, so you want to give them a reason to watch. Not just sit here and watch me dirt video games or be very dry. Like it's we want to offer an experience, right? We will like when you're choosing what you're gonna do on a Thursday night, we want you to choose us because you know you're gonna be the most entertained with us. So like obviously like Cataclysm has a lot of that. Like he's been running brackets forever, like since like 2011, 2012. So like veteran of the game. He can run a bracket better than anybody. I bet the house on it, and it's not even close. I worked with bigger people, not even close. But and I'm not saying this to be to brag or be an asshole. It's just reality from observation and seeing how things go. So like with his fundamentals and just like we got kind of good with promotion stuff like that, and like we want to give a good user experience. We want you to have a great time watching. We want you to have a great time as a player, and that means having matches readily available, quick and efficient, respectful of the time, and just put it on an overall entertaining show. So you'll come back and be involved next week.
Yeah, and like you can tell, right? Like when I watched, I could tell not only like the work, but the heart and the soul. Like you guys care about the game, you guys really like it, and I know that you guys have some of those like for the Regatta. I'll never forget for the Regatta, the intro that you guys got together for like there was Cowboy Bebop, but it had all the players and that was so sick. And it's just things like that I really appreciate seeing, and I really like because you don't do it for shits and giggles, right?
Well, you want to show the players you care about them and you appreciate them, right? Like there's like I don't see a lot of brackets do that. Maybe they'll break them up when they're on stream, which is like the bare minimal because, hey, they're doing something. I'm acknowledging they're doing something. But as far as, hey, we appreciate you showing up week in, week out. We appreciate your skill. We appreciate what you do. We appreciate you being a part of this community. So try to just, reciprocate that, right? And try to do little things like that to try to make the players feel special.
Exactly. And I was going to say to you guys in general like have been doing this for a long time, right? And you're familiar with everybody, and so it's really nice to see like that the familiarity and like the respect you guys put towards your players, that you, like you said, show up consistently and do all this other stuff. But a lot of experience has come through here, right? I'm sure after 134 showings. So I was gonna ask, right, because I recently, like I said, I've been doing tournaments for not too long now, and I've come into a recent issue when it comes to streaming round robin formats. Cataclysm, do you have any advice or any help? Like, it's purely for the sake of how to run matches with it, because I realized that I had someone, it was Rage Quit Maker, he was like, all right, so the whole stream's going to be just you playing. I'm like, well, I mean, it is my stream, but that's not how I want it to be. But if I stream every single match, we spend like an hour and a half on it. If I stream, and there's 5 matches out of the X number. So if I triple that, right, it's like, triple the time that it took for us to do it in the first place. So do you have any certain I guess shortcuts or advice as to knowing what I should be streaming when I do like this type of format?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple things you have to think about. So for the Gauntlet, we try to run the Gauntlet in about 4 to 4.5 hours every week. Try to keep it within that time frame. So generally speaking, if you're running a tight ship and if everybody's showing up on time and there's not a lot of downtime between matches, that gets you 14 to 15 matches on stream in 4 hours. Okay. So, like, you can't think of it as how many matches do I have to run total. You have to think about it as how many matches can I run on a stream in a certain time frame, right? So with 4.5 hours for the Gauntlet, we get 14 to 15, sometimes 16 matches on stream. So I'm keeping track of that in my head. And the way I generally choose matchups for stream is like based on a bunch of factors. Obviously, everybody wants to see top players, but you're going to see top players in top 8 anyway. Mm-hmm. So I try to focus on players who play unique teams, or matchups that have storylines, like if players have beef, or they played a 1st to 10 on Monday, or they did something like that, right? So you look for storylines, you look for unique teams, you look, everybody loves watching Tyson or Taekwa or some of the top players play every week, but you don't want to see Tyson play 5 matches in a row. You want to, you got to keep it moving. You got to have unique teams, unique players, storylines, just to kind of keep it fresh. Like every player will tell you that they want to play on stream every time, right? But not that's not good television. That's not good watching.
Mhm.
So you know what I mean? You got to change it up. You got to keep it fresh and kind of go all over the map, and based on what matches are finishing and what matches are coming up, you know, that's kind of how I pick what matches go on stream and what matches don't. But again, 4.5 hours time frame gets you 14 to 15 matches. Top 8 takes 2 hours. So like those are the kind of like timelines and time frames that I generally keep in my head, and then base all that on, you know, that 14 to 15 matches per night.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what you were talking about in the sense of like picking matches that are just not so much just the top players, but things that are interesting too. That's kind of how I've been trying to approach it too, like picking like when I was doing the round robin, I tried to stream multiple games and then found that if I delayed one match to be on stream after I played my match, I'd end up delaying like a ton of other matches too, because with round robin, right, like that's 2 people that have to fight 2 different people in the next set, and so on and so forth. There's like this trickle down effect. But I made sure that like I streamed whatever the top 2 players were at the very end, which is something that was like, again, Rage Quit Maker's been one that's been kind of dominating these beginner intermediate tournaments that I've run, and they're not shy to let me know that they that they want to be on stream, or that, you know, they are they disagree with how I'm doing some things, which I'm fine for, right? Because I'm here to learn and to try to figure out what the hell I'm doing, right, with everybody else.
Right. And like the thing that happens, and like you really do have to drill down to this, is that like have the match that you're gonna do next ready, have the players already in the lobby ready to go, so that there's as little as downtime as possible. Because like that 4 to 4.5 hour time frame for the Gauntlet, if a guy shows up 1 minute late and then the next guy shows up a minute late, and then there's like, you really like focused on like 30 seconds, a minute time frames, like people showing up to the lobby, not showing up to the lobby. Oh man, I got to take a piss. I got to go for a smoke break, blah, blah, blah. Like that will extend out your broadcast, your stream, your tournament, whatever you want to be, by a certain amount of time. And like, you have to account for that. And like, I know it sounds crazy, but like I'm thinking in 30 to a minute's like intervals, and making sure people are in the lobbies and being ready and know that they're on stream next and things like that. Cause like any type of delay, you just can, like in your head, I'm just adding bricks to the top of the tower of how long the stream is going to take. And if people just keep taking longer and longer, that tower is going to be very, very tall, or very, I don't know what analogy I'm going with here, but like your stream is, your stream is going to get longer. Your stream is going to get longer and longer and longer and longer. Right. And like, for me, like, I don't want to sit there and watch a tournament for 6 to 8 hours. Most people do not have time to do that. And when you run it on a weekday night, nobody has time. And like, we all work in the morning and blah, blah, blah. So like, nobody wants to watch a 6 to 8 hour tournament. So, you know, you got to get her done, right?
Yeah, and that was like my thing too, in the sense of like, we didn't have that many people, but I knew that there was going to be so much downtime for the players too. If I did stream like every match round robin, like at the end of the day, I decided that what I was doing was more for the people who came and participated in the first place. Like, I want them to have a good time, and if like the stream was almost like secondary at that point to me, because it's if I'm mainly here for the people that showed up, right, and I'm doing this for them. And if the stream is like a good byproduct, and that only works if the people are having fun and if they continue to participate. So that's something I've been trying to keep in mind too. And I know that you guys have gone past kind of the Gauntlet too, with things like the Monday night exhibition matches, the first to 10s, and you guys also like do some other games too. But I want to take a quick moment, because I mentioned it earlier, but I want to make sure that I kind of just want to hear the story of this, of the Third Strike Regatta. Can you explain to those at home, and even to myself too, because I wasn't too familiar with what it all was.
Well, it's a yearly major, so like obviously, like MVCI got cocked at most majors, right? Like, yeah, you'll have a major at you'll have MVCI at KIT, and it's a major, but like then you have a 12-person bracket. Like, what the fuck? That's not a credible win. That's not even a Thursday night for us, right? And that's why I've like I guess I'm going on a tangent here, but like the online offline debate and whatever, right? Like, I find a lot of that's just pad and ego shit and doing mental gymnastics. Obviously, it's not the best player conditions, but you know what? The conditions are still there and for everyone. So, like, if your match is shitty and laggy, more than likely your opponent's is too. You're playing under the same conditions, but that's neither here nor there. But basically, like, besides like 2 events a year, maybe 3, like, we don't got majors. We don't have the player base to even support it to be at every major anyways. That's just the nature of what it is. So me and Cataclysm thought, hey, let's do an online major. So that's when we brought out the first Fighting Regatta, and that happened in, I believe, was that 20? That would have been in 2018, right?
It would have been 2019. So the 3 regattas have been 2019, 2020, and 2021. So 2019.
Yeah, we try to do it like my birthday weekend or Super Bowl weekend, because usually these rounds falls around the same time, that Friday night for that weekend, and push it a little bit later start time. And it's all we always try, like we did special intros for every single one, right? Like just to add that extra pizzazz to it or whatever. This year we hired a live DJ, Static Alpha, the Marvel 3 player. He's a fan of what we do, and so we hired him for the live DJ set, which was phenomenal. Like I'm never not going to do something like that again now.
I thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
Well, just bring something unique, right? Like a unique experience. We want like our goal is to try to make it like, let's make it the WrestleMania fighting games. Yeah. So WrestleMania is not always just the matches, right? It's all the pageantry around it and shit like that. So that's kind of the goal, going behind it. So, and it's our baby. Like we work very hard on it. Like we were lucky enough to get partnered up with Matcherino early, and every year the prize pool just keeps growing. Like our philosophy is like there's no point of doing a prize pool every single week and have like these players fight for like $20 and then like, okay, here's your $750, here's your $250, and here you actually owe money, get the fuck out, right? Like there's no point of that. So let's, like, you only get so many asks with a small community, so let's do our yearly major, pump the Matcherino for 6 months, get a huge prize pool, and get these guys paid. And like we set the record this year, like it was over $2,600, and that's nice. US dollars. So like first place got like basically $1,700 or something like that, like wild money. Like that's top awesome. 3 got paid handsomely, and that's with no sponsorship. That's with no backing by any larger entities. Like Maximilian retweeted us, and we're very grateful for that. But that's probably about the extent of it, right? Like, but like it's just all homegrown and shit that we did, but we want to do it because I guess it's just because everybody ain't doing shit for you, then we have to take it upon ourselves to make it happen for ourselves, right? If we don't do it, and I'm not saying we, like, as in me and Mike, I'm just saying us as a community, right? Mm-hmm. Like we never had the passing of the torch from Marvel 3, so you know what I mean? We have to create our own top players. We have to create our own big events. We have to create everything, and it's all ours. And we're all, and you can see from the player base, right? We're all very protective of it, and with good reason, right? Because everything we got, we did ourselves.
No,
what was your question?
I feel like I also don't remember. That's what it was. We were just talking about the regatta in general, like how it came to be, but you explained it, and it's just really cool to know that something like this, and there's like there's people that care, right? Regardless, right? And I'm sure that like you guys are doing it for MVCI, and there's probably people out there doing it for some other game that they love, and it's just nice to know that even if you don't have the official support anymore from like the parent company or the series or whatever, like a previous community, you can still make something of the game that you love, right? And you can still have a good time. You can still make, like, you know, I'm sure you guys have met tons of people and made some friends along the way and everything. And even now, these past few, months, I guess, since I ran the tournament in November, which was completely on a whim, mind you, right? Like every month I play a new fighting game, quote unquote. And I just learned it from scratch, and I was like, I haven't played MVCI since it like launched, but I remember really enjoying the game. Let me give it a month, and I played it for a month on stream. A friend of mine bought it, and we played like 30 to 40 games in a row, like every time we sat down to play, and we were just like completely addicted. And I just like fell in love with the game again, and that's when I came across you guys, and I was like, there's tournaments for this game? Heck, I could run something too, like something small at least, right? Like I just have to do it. And then I did, and now I'm doing it bi-weekly and everything. So if you guys hadn't done your stuff in the first place, right, I wouldn't have done my thing, and I wouldn't have met all the people that I know now, that people like Dungeon or Sheeb or etc. Like Loyal. There's quite a few names that I could bring up that I'm now I at least consider friends with through this game, right? Which is super cool. And now we might play like Strive together or something. So the community has been really great to me. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. And it's nice to know that was possible, even if the game's, quote unquote dead by, some random on the internet standards or whatever.
I find that we have a really strong community. Everybody's fairly close to each other. Like we talk a lot of shit, rip on each other, this, that, and the other thing. But that's part of the nature of Marvel, right? Like we. But with that being said, yeah, we definitely made some close friends over the years and everything, and like people I would consider close friends, and these are just strangers on the internet that live in a different country for the most part, right? But just the game brought us all together, and yeah, I feel we all got something special, and like it's still constantly growing a little bit, right? But it's inching. You're like it's never gonna be like your huge esports event or anything like that, but like we're gonna do our damnedest to make it look like it.
It's funny they actually bring that up because one of my questions here is when I ask you guys how you two came together to decide what you were going to do, and I think you mentioned earlier that you just wanted to run something online for the local guys, and so you guys were some of just the original groups, right? Like Cataclysm used to run the Ralston Arcade, and then were you like one of the killers in that situation there, DonCon, or how did you guys actually come to, I guess, working together?
I knew Mike for a long time, so he used to ran all the local events, right? So like we have majors here, like to Atlantic Canada scale, but still being like a place that no one in the world heard of besides the people that live there. Like I'd say it done pretty well for himself. Like he'd have like 60 to 100 people at the events. Now it'd support a bunch of games, right? Like I was a Marvel 3 player, and where he hosted Marvel 3 at his house, I'd be going to his house every Tuesday for years, right? So obviously being a gracious host was cool with me smoking weed on his porch and stuff and going playing games and shit. So and then there it was. So that's how we met. And then once Infinite came around, Mike took a liking to Infinite, and I was just mentioning to some of the guys that, man, we should run a tournament. And Mike's like, I want in. I'm like, I want you in because you could do all the shit I'm bad
at. That's awesome.
Well, and like that's a really good way of putting it. And you have to remember too, right? Like the game came out in September 2017. Like me and Don started the Gauntlet in January 2018. By then, like Marvel Infinite was quote unquote dead already. Like, you know what I mean? So like we were just like we want to play with our local guys, we want to play Marvel. Like the Marvel scene in our area was very strong. You know, hopefully a lot of people like Marvel Infinite. So we ran a bunch of local online tournaments for the local guys. And when we say local, we mean like 3 provinces in Canada. So like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI. And then that kind of fizzled out. The local community didn't really take to it as well as Marvel 3. Like a lot of people got on Dragon Ball and a couple other games.
Oh boy.
So they dropped that just as quick too, to be fair. You know why? Because they tried playing the Smash people, and Smash kids are playing Dragon Ball, and they fucked them up. And they're like, this game sucks. I mean, it does suck, but not for that reason.
I agree with you. It looks very pretty, though.
It does. You know, I don't fault people for enjoying it, right? But like, if you do super, super, super level 3 and like they have 30% health left, like, what are you doing? Every match is gonna be a snoozer.
I just have the defense for that game. I get mixed and Infinite too. That's my biggest thing. I just get that game eats me alive. Because that's
Marvel though. You're supposed to get mixed.
Exactly, right? Like, and it's just like not one of my strengths yet. I haven't just played enough, and I don't know. I dropped off of Dragon Ball purely because losing in that game I didn't feel was fun.
Well, because you spent a half hour playing one match and you killed like 2 characters. Like it's just if the pacing was like Marvel 3 or BlazBlue Cross Tag, like every time you got hit, like the consequences were so high. Then like man, I would probably still be playing it. Like if it had like Marvel 3 damage or something like that. Now I'm sure there's great arguments on why that wouldn't work and stuff, and I'm just telling you what turned me off of the game basically. Like I don't hate it. I don't fault people for enjoying it, right? Just not my shit.
Exactly. And it's interesting. Or it's good that you bring up BB Tag because that's another game that you guys run too besides MVCI, and we don't have to delve too much into things that aren't the Gauntlet. But I really enjoyed that game too, right? And that's another game that I feel like I'm not sure if it has a strong like online presence as much as
we probably do the same at this point. We do very similar numbers for BB Tag on Tuesday nights. We get to 25 to 28 people every single Tuesday consistently. That's been for
actually,
last year.
Actually pretty great. That's like in general, like me, like I said, running my small humble tournaments or whatever, I struggle to get like double digits and stuff, or just even get the same people to reappear. Now I've been getting some retention and stuff from redoing it, so it's just good to hear that you have at least like an actual full tournament every Tuesday night, like consistently.
Yeah, easily, and like the player base is kind of dwindling there, right? Because like the online's not as good as Marvel Infinite, so when you're getting in East Coast, West Coast shit, it's like you suffer a little bit. I don't find it too bad, but it's definitely definitely not Marvel Infinite smooth. But with that being said, like the fun per minute is so high. Like your matches in that game are 20 seconds, like 20, 30 seconds, and it is balls to the walls. And it's like mash friendly. It's easy to pick up. Like it's an easy game to pick up characters and be comfortable with them quickly. Like there's a lot that I like about it, and it's super fun.
I just remember getting destroyed by Ruby. That's like my biggest takeaway from before.
Yeah, Ruby's a super good character,
right? And then I was like, my buddy played Ruby, and I don't know if you guys ever got into that situation where it's like, oh, who do you want to play? And I was like, oh, I want to play this person. And you're like, damn, I wanted to play that person. But I guess you mentioned it first, so I'll play somebody else. Just like when you started in the game, just another character. I've just always wanted to like. It's not that I dislike mirror matches. I actually found that when I was playing another side tangent. When I was playing Strive, I was playing Axel, and I actually looked for the mirror often just because I thought it was so much fun. Like me not knowing what I'm doing and just pushing like long range buttons, and my opponent doing the same thing, I thought really fun. So I'm glad that I've kind of beaten that kick now of not doing not being able to play the same character as like my buddies. But when it came to BB Tag, right, like I wanted to play Ruby. My friend had already playing it, and eventually I tried Ruby. I tried like Ruby Gordeau anyways, just because I thought it'd be funny to have two giant scythes. And I think that team.
That team won like every major ever besides like Arc Revo 2020 or Arc Revo 2019 and Evo 2019, which is run by Ruby Yang. I think Ruby won every significant major though.
It's nuts. I mean, I personally don't. I personally enjoy it just because I like Ruby as like a series itself too.
Oh yeah, that dry ass cartoon.
Yeah, like I will say this. I was definitely, when coming to the season, I was more committed to it just because it's one of those things like, well, I've watched so much. I've been committed for so long. I gotta see it through the end. Kind of like with Bleach. I did the same thing with Bleach. And now this last season has actually been kind of getting me more into it again. So that's...
No, it wasn't on Volume 8 or...
Yeah.
I didn't watch 7 yet. I think I watched 6, but I don't even remember what happened. No, 6 is when they... it had there's the old witch, well, not an old witch lady, but like an old cranky lady.
Yes.
That was like the military commander, and she went crazy in the robot, and then Ruby fought the robot. And like I find the fight scenes are really good. Like the fight scenes feel like a big deal, but outside of that, man, like their world building is just like it has potential, but it's just I don't know, man. It's almost like Walking Dead pacing. But
I just felt like there was like the little bitch syndrome is kind of what I jokingly referred to it as. Just so many characters just whiny all the time, and I got so tired of that after so many seasons.
Yeah,
and maybe it was just I was just jaded because like I'd watched, like I sat down like
you committed. Yeah, you're committed. Right. You gotta know when to cut the ties, man.
But anyways, getting back to kind of the task at hand. The Gauntlet, Marvel is dead. Like what you run on Mondays, the first of 10s and everything. You guys have like a consistent kind of schedule now with how you do things. But actually, I didn't know how long have you guys been doing? I guess the other stuff. How long were you running the Gauntlet before you introduced like the BB Tag tournament and the other stuff or the exhibition matches?
Well, I started the exhibitions with Dragon Ball. Funny enough, so when Dragon Ball Fighters launched, that's when I started the first 10s on Mondays, and then once on BB Tag, I wasn't going to give it any chance because I didn't really give a shit about animes. I played zero of the other games that feed into it, and didn't care about Ruby. I watched Ruby after the fact just because I'm like, okay, there's whatever. Let me watch this, and but I think BB Tag around the Gauntlet, like mid 20s, early 30s is when we started the first Big 8 BB Tag tournament. And then just again took off from there. Same intention though. It was gonna originally be just an 8-person bracket, so it's light and quick. And then it kind of just grew and grew and grew because I just couldn't bring myself to turn players away. So, but then yeah, that was just the schedule for the past 2.5 years now.
Wow, that's crazy. And like it's I mean obviously consistency pays, and I'm sure that has led to like the retention and everything. And besides just the community and you guys having such an easy access place, like the Gauntlet's something that anybody can join and jump in and just be like, hey, can I, like, or nowadays, right, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing with this, and more often than not, someone will show up and be like, hey, here's this Twitter link, or you can do this, or in this situation, you can try that, and I've done that more than one few times when I've been trying to try out teams. I've been playing a scuffed Ghost Rider Monster Hunter team for the last few months, and I keep trying to will myself to try to learn Gamora Firebrand, But every
Gamora
time...
you can learn in an afternoon, dude. Gamora's easy as shit.
It looks so intimidating, though. I keep staring at it, and it's like,
it's
oh,
way
God,
easier.
what do
Monster
I
Hunter's
do?
so much harder than Gamora. Same with Ghost Rider. Like, Gamora is, like, brain dead easy. Like, her and Sigma are the two easiest characters to learn in the game. Like, and it's not even close. It's significantly easier than anybody else.
Maybe I'll sit down and actually give it another try.
Spend an afternoon with her, and you'll be like, what am I doing not playing this character? She's so good. She's, like, top 3.
It's just
and
free.
It's super easy.
I had to do something. My buddy plays Maverick Hunters, and I am so tired of just getting blown up by Zero, just like full screen fireball conversions on something that are like dash behind, dash forward mixes, or honestly, just air dashes have destroyed me so much in this game because I'll be like, I play pretty patient more often than not, and that's something that I'm trying to like break a habit of because I feel like playing patient and MVCI sometimes means just letting them mix you, which is not what you want to be doing, right? I was told the other day that the best tool or the best defense to not getting mixed up is to not be there in the first place, to just not sit still, not let them just run a gauntlet on you.
What's your 3 rules, Don? What's your 3 rules?
Oh, you want to know the 3 rules of fighting games? I was going to actually consult you on this. I'm like, he's like, I'm playing Monster Hunter and I play patient and defense. So I'm like, whoa, we got the guy for you right on the phone now. But I'm going to tell you the 3 rules of fighting games. And the 3 rules of fighting games, if you do all these 3 things in a match, you're going to win that match. Rule number 1, fuck that shit. Rule number 2, don't let them do that to you. And rule number 3, get them. You do those 3 things, you're going to win.
That makes so much sense to me. I feel like you can apply that to pretty much like any situation. It just works. I need to
one of those 3 things are going to apply to your situations. Yep.
100%. I definitely need to work on my... actually, on all 3 of those, I need to. And it's like... And part of it is kind of like getting through initial nerves and stuff, like playing people I've never played against before, or playing in like a tournament setting and stuff. But I'm glad to say that I think my Scuff team is getting a little better now. I just have to like sit down and actually lab more now so I can figure out what to do, especially like when I have Power Storm with Ghost Rider and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, all right, well, I can't do the normal combat I do because I just flip out because there's too many wall bounces and it's like...
Just jump heavy. It's easy.
I literally came across that the other day like I was messing around and I was just like, wait, can I just do this like 4 times in a row and it's actually free? It was nuts. It's like... Partially the reason I've kept playing the game for so long is because I just get on and I feel like every time I find something really cool that the game system or the characters allow me to do. And although I'm not the happiest with the overall like final roster, nor the character select screen for that matter, that's like my biggest gripe. Just because like I don't know why I care about that piece of aesthetics so much. But
I care about that shit too.
Like,
and
the fact the red bleeds
the
over.
Music's bad. The music's bad. Like, I like the roster. I think the roster, like, the characters and stuff are awesome. On paper, no. Like, when I initially saw it, I had the same reaction as everybody else. Mm-hmm. But, like, playing the characters, seeing them work, and seeing people do cool shit with them, that's washed away. Like, as far as the aesthetic, yeah, like, there's definitely some sins. Like, the menus are ugly. It looks like a phone game, basically. But, yeah, like, especially seeing the menus in other games and stuff and how much, like, work and presentation goes into it, and then it's just bare bones, but you know what? You gotta look past it
because the game is damn fun.
It plays phenomenal, right? Like the Connect Online's good, barring this week, and yeah, it brings so much to the table. It's and the redeeming quality is just so much better than just the other shit that he got dragged down for and ran through the mud.
Exactly, like sure, Chun-Li's face, Dante's face, whatever. And people are upset like that Winter Soldier was like a DLC character and stuff like that too, right? But I think Winter Soldier's a super interesting character, right? Like there's like the blue hand and there's like all the space control and everything you can do. Like I think it was a cool addition to the game. Although I don't play the character and I feel like if I play against the character often, my opinion might change.
Yeah, you're gonna wish he's not there.
Right? Like same thing with like the Zero stuff. And Zero's been like good apparently in every Marvel game or something. And it's just never lucky that the person I play against the most just they play Maverick Hunters because they like Mega Man. Like it was just a honest, just wholesome reason to pick up the characters. Like, oh, wow, like my favorite video game characters are in this game. I'll play them. And then we start playing. And initially, when we both didn't know what we were doing, it was fine. But then he started labbing. He started watching. He found JB the Island Man. I started watching some videos, and then I knew the full error of the fact that he was just a Mega Man fan. Because it was horrible. It's horrible. I can't stand playing against it all the time. But
Maverick.
I just gotta get good.
What do you do, Mike? What does Monster Hunter do against Maverick Hunters?
You gotta be patient, that's for sure, and then wait for them to come in, and you hit them with jump heavy. Bam! You're good to go.
Yeah, not only that, but
you can't approach.
The Ghost Rider bike has been. I don't know if it's fair to call it a crutch because I feel like it's just good, so I should be doing it anyways. But especially like during Soulstorm and stuff like that, I just rip it. And the number of times where like he'll get caught off guard because I shouldn't be doing anything, and then he just hears what he thought the line where he just said was "Hockey Blades rides again." It was like Hockey Blades. What are you talking about? He just keeps saying it whenever I got on the bike, and I realized it's just like how he heard it instead of Johnny Blaze. But Ghost Rider definitely had some tools there to help me out, just wheeling on him and stuff like that. But I don't know, life's tough, and I was gonna mention too that I think Monster Hunter is just such a cool character in general for across a bunch of fighting games that I've played, just with like the timing of like normal cancels and all this other stuff. Sure, there's times where I screw up a combo just because of these same properties and things like that, but it just feels like a really satisfying character overall for me. And so that's why I'm trying to keep that character in my back pocket still and find someone to compliment her. But we'll kind of see. Let's see. Going back to kind of just questions about the community and things like that. What would you say is like the biggest strength of the Gauntlet community that you guys have crafted so far?
You got this one, Mike?
I mean, I think one of the key things is that everybody's pretty welcoming and everyone wants to help everybody get better and improve. Like when you join the Gauntlet Discord, like you say, hey, I'm new to the game, I want to play. And then people ask, what characters are you interested in? And so a new player will say, oh, I'm interested in this character and this character. And then, we'll ping some players who play those characters and help everybody out. Like, I think the welcoming nature of the community is definitely one of the key things. Because like Don says, the community is small. So everybody's got to pitch in and help out to keep growing it very slowly. And, that sort of thing. So I think being very welcoming and everybody wanting to share tech, like I think the Marvel tech on Twitter, if you use the Twitter hashtags, like there's Marvel Infinite tech on Twitter all day, every day, all the time. Like you'll be able to see new combos, new happy birthdays, new setups all the time, right? So like I think that welcoming nature and like everything being focused on like, I would definitely qualify Marvel Infinite as like a Discord fighter. Like if you're not in the Discords, then you're not going to be able to get the most out of the game because that's where everybody hangs out. And that's what's helped really grow the community is that new players are like, man, you guys are helping us. And there's all these resources and all that kind of stuff to help, get new players on the wagon and get them going so that it's not just like, you play a match, somebody destroys you and then says has a nice have a nice day. You know what I mean? I think the welcoming nature of the community is definitely one of the strong points for sure.
Yeah, and like I can attest to that too. Like I was playing Melee before this, which is like another game, and that game has tons of like community support, and there's a bunch of people playing, and there's like always new people flooding in and stuff. And in the month that I played that, I had like my one friend that was helping me, and I met some other people through Twitch and things. But there's just like a complete stark difference, and like just it's weird for me to say the quality of person that I met against or like help that I got. But besides like one person that was like genuine, like helping me learn and stuff like that, it was just so hard to really get anywhere with that game in comparison to Marvel when I came into the Discord and I just had tons of help and I got like immediate like friendly face and stuff like that. And nowadays, like I haven't even been here for that long, but like I said, there's a few people I can call by name that I could consider a friend. And when I post things on Twitter now about my tournaments being like, hey, it's happening this Friday or something, I was gonna post in the Gauntlet Discord just to remind everybody. And before I finished typing my sentence, like Azura came out and just like linked the tweet before I was even finished. And like I'm trying to hear just like, hey everybody, we're hosting the tournament, hope you guys are all good. And then before I can even like hit send, someone has already linked the tweet with like my sign up and everything, like, and they added a bunch of people and they're like, hey, check this out. And it's like, I can't even do my own promos anymore. You guys are too quick. But it was like it was nice and it was heartwarming to see just how quickly I was I guess kind of accepted and adopted into the community too. So that was awesome. To kind of, I guess, wrap up here, I have this like running thing where we end the cast with some words of advice. So if there's anybody out there who's looking to kind of set something up for a game or another, whether their game's quote unquote dead or alive, and they want to start a community or run tournaments, what are the pieces of advice that you guys can give, like, or the hard learned truths?
I think the first one, maybe we'll go back and forth, Don. First one is consistency, man. Like, you got to be in it for the long haul. Like, when we say every Thursday night, I've gone back and looked at the stats. I think since we started the Gauntlet in January 2018, we've held a Gauntlet on like 82% of every Thursday since then.
That's a long time.
Right? So, like, consistency is key. Like, this may make us sound like boomers, but think about like 90s television. Thursday night must-watch TV on NBC, Friends, and Seinfeld, and blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody watched TV on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Like, that was drilled into them to watch Friends or Seinfeld or whatever it was, or Cheers.
Your Saturday morning cartoons, like your TGIF, like, schedule's king. Schedule's absolutely king.
And you got to hold to it, man. Like, so many people try and start something, do it once, do it a second time. It's not getting the numbers they want or the value they want, and they quit. Like, you have to stick with it. Like, there was a year where the Gauntlet had 15 people. Like, I remember when the Gauntlet had 15 people, and we were floored. We're like, holy shit, 15 people are playing in the Gauntlet. This is insane. And now we do like 40, 50 on a weekly basis, right? So, like, consistency is key, and you have to stick to it. Like I said, 82% of Thursdays, we've run the Gauntlet. Like, life happens, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. We've had to cancel sometimes and things like that. But, like, that consistency is what helps, right? And, like, even when I was running Marvel 3 in my house, like, it was every Tuesday night. Like, for 3 years, people, and that's, you know what I mean? Like, people need to rely on that, especially on Twitch when there's literally a million things you can watch. Like, people got to know that when it's 8 p.m., it's your time to stream, or it's the Gauntlet, or it's the Big 8, or it's, whatever it may be. Like, that's, consistency is 100% key. Like, it has to be there.
That makes sense.
And another thing, too, I'll tell you right now, the bar for the FGC is low. It is very low. Like, okay, look at a lot of, even your bigger streamers and stuff running tournaments. I'm not going to name any names, but look how much their shit changed from when they started to now. Like, besides, like, new equipment, like maybe higher resolution, like, really what has changed? Not that much, right? There's not that much creative thought going into shit, and the bar is just so low. So it's, like, it's at the point where mediocrity can actually rise, and you see it. So just do better. If you just do better, which with the low bar, it's not that hard, and not just accepting shit for good enough, then you know what? If you're consistent, if you have a good schedule, and just put a little bit of extra effort into it, and I'm not saying these other people work hard, I'm just saying it, like, from the looks of it, like, good enough is the standard, which it shouldn't be. And it's easy to pull on ahead, right? If some, like, I feel like, and I think Mike can attest to this too, if we think something's not good enough, we change it to make it better. If it doesn't make it better, then we're going to go on to something else until we get that improvement and hold to a standard of quality that's acceptable to both of us. But I'll tell you what's not acceptable to both of us is good enough.
Yeah. And that's another thing I think that Don touches on too, is that, like, stuff hasn't changed. Don't be afraid to try new things, man. Like live streaming esports and video games has been around for like over 10 years now, right? Like, StarCraft 2 came out in 2010, kind of kicked it all off. Like, FGC started getting big in 2011 with Street Fighter and Marvel and stuff like that. But, like, every tournament stream is the game screen with a scoreboard at the top, the logo at the bottom, player cam or commentator cam, two pane window, and that's it. It's been like that for 10 years, man. Like, that's one of the things that, like, me and Don always try to do, is we always try to do something different or do something a little off the beaten path, right? So to change it up, right? So, like, don't be afraid to do something different, right? Like, double elimination bracket is tournament standard. You got to run your double elimination bracket, but, like, you can always do something different. First to tens. We ran Battle of the Demigods. It was a Swiss bracket. Nobody had ever done Swiss before. We're like, Swiss. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. It's popular in chess. It's popular in Pokemon. Like, why not, right? So like, there's lots of different things we've done. Battle of the Mortals, we did character battles. Like, don't be afraid to try something new, man. Because like,
yeah, like we got the duck contest, and we're constantly coming with new ideas. Like we're always like we'll brainstorm, see if it gets through whatever process we have to vet out like what's good, what's bad, et cetera. But we're always trying to come up with ideas because the same old stuff, it's just going to fizzle out, and you're going to fizzle out with it.
Yeah, and like, think about it like anything else. If you're gonna do the same thing as everybody else and compete against 10,000 people that are doing the same thing, or you could be the 1 or 20 people that are doing something different. I think most people would choose to be the 20 people doing something different rather than the 1,000 people doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
100%.
So,
and like I think you guys both kind of touched up on it, but like there's a thing of like perseverance and trial and error too, right? Like I'm sure that the Gauntlet has grown much, and you guys have learned some lessons and kind of carved out your own path and figured out what works, what doesn't work. And I mean, I'm still trying to do that myself with like my tournaments and like life in general, right? You gotta approach this with an idea of, it's not sometimes like you said, Don, the bar's kind of low. And so people I've seen is really grateful, right? Even for the stuff that I run, people are like, thanks for hosting, thanks for running, and they're really appreciative. And so it's nice to give them a little more, right? A little extra, and that'll show and that'll go through. But if stuff doesn't initially work, keep at it, because eventually you might find that one thing that does work, or you learn a piece of the puzzle, and you gotta push from there, right?
Yeah, and like it doesn't even have to be that much, right? Just something different. Like, you know how many people ask me every week that, hey, how can I get my name in the splash screen? If you ever show up to the Gauntlet early, we get some music playing, and I have a splash screen going, and it's just a little looping video of just highlighting the players. It's not even them playing. It's just a little avatar that we hired, Wave Chan, and she gave us chibis for all the roster, and we just linked that up with their name and stuff like that, and like, people are itching to get on there just to be on the waiting screen for us to start the event, right? Just little shit like that, right? It shows that you care about the community. It shows that you put effort towards the community. It's a little bit time consuming, but at the end of the day, it's just a splash screen, right? And like, just little things like that to change it up, not just a image that says tournament starts at 7, and you know what I mean? Just there's so many little extra things you can do that doesn't take that much effort, but like, you just have to do the effort, man. Again, just don't accept good enough.
Yeah, push past, give it 110, because your 110 is probably someone else's, like, who knows, right? Just that little extra bit of effort can go a long way. Well, that's pretty much all I had to ask for today. I really appreciate you guys coming out again. I really appreciate the good conversation. I've learned a lot, and I think it was really insightful here. So before we wrap up here, let everybody know where they can find you guys at, where can they find the Gauntlet, what to look forward to, and if there's any big events or anything coming up.
No, we don't get fuck all going on, dude.
You want me to do it, Don? You want me to throw the promo?
That was my segue.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So we got the, obviously we have the Gauntlet every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/ICUHater. That's I_C_U_hater. The best Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite tournament on planet Earth. You can follow me on Twitter at Ralston Arcade, and Don, your Twitter is ICUHater as well.
With the underscores.
With the underscores. Yeah, join the Discord. You could probably link it in the description on the YouTube there. So the Gauntlet Discord is the most poppin' place to find Marvel Infinite matches. Probably one of the biggest Discord servers there are for Infinite, so definitely join that.
Oh, yeah. We're active. Like, Aries is not even close. I think we're number 1 in Google search analytics, too. So you can just Google the Gauntlet, and you will find us.
Yeah, so check us out there. Don runs First to 10's Marvel vs. MVCI is Dead every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, same channel, and the BB Tag Big 8 on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern as well, if you want to get cross-tag battle action in there as well. We've done a lot of big events recently. The beginning of the calendar year is kind of when we do all of our big events, but we got a couple other ones cooking that you'll see from us very soon. The Gauntlet World Tour is going to make another stop here soon. I'm going to work on that in the next couple months. You'll see another stop outside the U.S. on the Gauntlet World Tour. So we got that coming up soon, and we got a couple other fun things we're working on. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure to put all the things in the description so you guys can check them out. Thanks again for coming out to this episode, guys. Let us know what you thought. Let me know if you have any other questions, any things you want me to pass along, or if you want to get in touch with them, make sure to follow the links in the description. That's pretty much it from us here. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next time.